Welcome to Module 1 lecture on Economics of Planning. In this course, we explore the conceptual, theoretical, and practical dimensions of economic planning, especially as it relates to national development. This module will lay the foundation by addressing 1. The rationale for planning. 2. Origins, types, and performance of planning. 3. Planning machinery. 4. Planning objectives, policy formulation, and implementation. This module is designed for students of economics, public policy, development studies, and anyone interested in understanding how governments organize and execute economic strategies to drive national growth. Let's begin with the rationale for planning. Underscore 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 1. The rationale for planning. Economic planning is a deliberate and conscious effort by governments or planning authorities to influence, direct, and sometimes control the major economic variables within a country. Unlike the market system which operates through the forces of demand and supply, economic planning involves decisions that are central, guided, and often long-term in nature. 1.1 Why do nations plan? There are several compelling reasons why countries engage in planning. Market failure. In many developing countries, market forces alone are insufficient to allocate resources efficiently. Public goods, externalities, and information asymmetry necessitate government intervention through planning. Coordination of resources. Planning ensures the systematic coordination of available resources for optimal use across sectors such as agriculture, industry, health, and education. Equity and redistribution. Through planning, governments can aim to reduce income inequality, regional disparities, and poverty by directing resources toward underserved areas. National goals and priorities. Planning helps in articulating and pursuing national objectives like food security, employment generation, technological advancement, and environmental sustainability. Stabilization and growth. Planning enables the state to intervene in macroeconomic affairs to maintain price stability, balance of payments, and promote steady economic growth. 1.2 Planning in different contexts. While developed countries may lean more toward indicative planning, developing countries often adopt directive planning to steer structural transformation and build institutional capacity. In both contexts, however, the emphasis is on rational allocation and achieving long-term developmental goals. Underscore 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 2. Origins, types, and performance of planning. 2.1 Historical evolution of planning. Modern economic planning originated in the early 20th century, particularly with the rise of socialist economies like the former Soviet Union. The centralized command economy model introduced in the 1920s served as an inspiration for many developing countries post-independence. By the 1950s and 1960s, countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America adopted planning as a strategy to drive development and break away from colonial economic legacies. 2.2 Types of planning. Economic planning can be classified into several types, based on scope, approach, and flexibility. Indicative versus imperative planning. Indicative planning is common in mixed economies. It sets broad goals and guidelines without being coercive. France is a classic example. Imperative planning, by contrast, involves command and control, as seen in centrally planned economies like North Korea and the former USSR. Short-term versus medium-term versus long-term planning. Short-term plans, 1 to 2 years, address immediate issues such as inflation control. Medium-term plans, 3 to 5 years, are common in many countries, including Nigeria. Or long-term plans, 10 years or more, target structural transformation and long-range visions. Rolling plans. Introduced as a response to rigidities in fixed planning, rolling plans are updated annually, allowing for flexibility and responsiveness to changing economic realities. Perspective plans. These provide a long-term strategic framework and are usually not operational but guide the preparation of more detailed short- and medium-term plans. 2.3 Performance of economic planning. Evaluating the effectiveness of planning involves assessing how well plans achieve their stated goals. Key performance metrics include rate of economic growth, reduction in poverty and unemployment, structural transformation, balance of payments performance, reduction in inequality. Success varies significantly across countries. While countries like South Korea and China have used planning effectively to achieve rapid industrialization, others have struggled due to poor implementation, political instability, or overambitious targets. Underscore 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 underscore. 3. Planning machinery. The term planning machinery refers to the institutional and administrative framework that supports the formulation, coordination, and implementation of development plans. 3.1 Components of planning machinery. 1. Central Planning Authority. This is the apex body responsible for drafting and overseeing national plans. In some countries, it functions as an autonomous agency, while in others, it is part of the Ministry of Finance or Economy. 2. Line ministries and agencies. These play a key role in sectoral planning. For example, ministries of health, education, and agriculture submit proposals and implement sector-specific projects. 3. National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. Data collection, monitoring, and evaluation are essential to effective planning. The NBS provides the necessary economic and social statistics. 4. Budget Office. Budgeting and planning must be harmonized to ensure that resources are allocated in line with plan priorities. 5. Parliament and political leadership. Legislative approval is necessary to confer legitimacy on national development plans. 6. Consultative and advisory bodies. These include economic think tanks, universities, the private sector, and civil society organizations that provide input and critique of draft plans. 3.2 Institutional weaknesses in planning machinery. Several challenges limit the effectiveness of planning institutions, especially in developing countries. Bureaucratic delays. Poor coordination between ministries. Lack of political will. Data inadequacy. Corruption and mismanagement. To strengthen planning, countries must invest in capacity building, institutional reforms, and digital technology for real-time data analysis and plan tracking. 4. Planning objectives and policy formulation and implementation. 4.1 Planning objectives. Planning objectives vary depending on national priorities, but typically include 1. Economic growth, raising GDP through increased productivity and investment. 2. Employment generation, reducing unemployment and underemployment. 3. Poverty reduction, improving the living standards of the poor. 4. Human capital development, enhancing access to quality education and healthcare. 5. Infrastructure development, investing in roads, power, water, and ICT. 6. Diversification, reducing reliance on a single sector like oil or agriculture. 7. Environmental sustainability, integrating environmental considerations into development policy. These objectives are often expressed in national development plans, vision documents, or economic blueprints. 4.2 Policy formulation in planning. Policy formulation is the process of translating planning goals into actionable policies and programs. It involves problem identification, defining the economic, social, or structural issues to be addressed. Research and data collection, gathering evidence to support policy decisions. Stakeholder consultation, engaging ministries, private sector, academia, and the public. Design of policy instruments, choosing between fiscal, monetary, trade, or regulatory tools. Cost-benefit analysis, ensuring that benefits of the policy outweigh the cost. Effective policy formulation is participatory, data-driven, and aligned with national goals. 4.3 Policy implementation. Implementation is often the weakest link in the planning cycle. Key factors affecting implementation include political commitment. Leadership must prioritize implementation over rhetoric. Institutional capacity. Ministries and agencies must have skilled personnel and resources. Funding. Adequate budgetary allocation and timely release of funds are crucial. Monitoring and evaluation. M&E tracking progress and identifying bottlenecks. Public-private partnerships. PPPs. Collaboration with the private sector can boost delivery. Many development plans fail due to poor implementation, even when well designed. Thus, strengthening the implementation framework is critical to the success of economic planning. Underscore 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 underscore. Module 1 Summary. In this module, we've explored the foundation of economic planning, covering the rationale for planning and its importance in guiding national development, the origins and various types of planning, including indicative, imperative, short-term, and rolling plans, the performance of planning across different countries and the challenges they face, the institutional machinery that supports planning and its associated weaknesses, how planning objectives are formulated and translated into public policies, and the common implementation challenges. In Module 2, we will dive into development planning in developing countries, DCs, and less developed countries, LDCs. Theories and techniques of planning. Case study of development planning in Nigeria. These discussions will help you gain both theoretical insight and practical understanding of how planning works within different socioeconomic contexts.